A new prisoner exchange, Kherson under fire, advances on the front line, and the possible appearance of NATO troops near Russia. Everything you need to know about the latest events, I'll tell you in this broadcast. My name is Irina Kondrachuk, and this is TSN Online. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, and of course, be active in the comments so that more people can see news about Ukraine. Let's get started. And another 1,200 of our soldiers may soon return home. The president of Ukraine has announced another major prisoner exchange. Right now, lists are being compiled and communication with the Russian side is ongoing. All of this is the result of the latest negotiations in Istanbul. Negotiators are also working to bring home not only military personnel, but also civilians imprisoned in Russian torture chambers, according to the president. To do this, they are gathering information and clarifying details for each individual name. In Kherson, residents of the Korabelny district are being urged to evacuate. This is all because the enemy has damaged the road bridge that connects the district to the city center. The Russians attacked the crossing at night, striking it from the air. The gas pipeline has also been damaged. After that, gas disappeared in Korabel. Now the district is facing major difficulties with transporting food and drinking water. It's also impossible to deliver medicine, and ambulances can't get through either. So the city authorities are asking people to leave the area. They are being promised temporary housing.
Today, the Russians struck the Ostrovsky Bridge with an airstrike again. The road surface has been damaged once more. Currently, traffic is restricted but still possible. I have personally confirmed this myself, so if you're considering evacuation, don't delay. We are ready to meet you, help you find accommodation, and provide the necessary assistance.
Shahids, ballistic missiles, and cruise missiles. Today, the enemy launched more than 80 aerial targets over Ukrainian territory. In particular, Russian terrorists struck with 5S, 300 and S, 400 surface-to-air guided missiles, and 1 Kh-22 cruise missile from the Black Sea. Another 76 attack drones and decoy UAVs targeted Ukraine last night. 60 enemy UAVs were shot down by air defense forces in the north, south, east, and center of the country. An Iskander-M ballistic missile launched by the enemy from the Bryansk region was also destroyed. There were hits, which were recorded in 8 locations. And in 2 more places, debris from downed drones fell, according to the Air Force. Kharkiv was hit by Shahids during the night. They struck warehouses and a forest belt. There were no casualties. And Kherson suffered from airstrikes. KABs hit the private sector. A large-scale fire broke out. A pensioner was near the impact site and was injured. 2 people were injured as a result of the missile strike on Mykolaiv. The day before, the enemy struck a residential area of the city with a supersonic missile. 7 people sustained injuries. The blast wave damaged apartment buildings and private houses. Several of them were completely destroyed. A shop and a post office were also hit. Fires broke out at the scene. Rescuers spent several hours extinguishing them. 5 people were killed by the Russians in Donetsk region, and another 11 were wounded. In Drushkivka, at least 8 drones struck the city center. The central market suffered the most damage. 6 women and 1 man were injured. In Kasiantinivka, the Russians struck at the private sector. 2 civilians were killed and 1 was injured. Zaporizhia, 1 person was killed and 4 were injured there. The enemy bombed Rykno at night. The Russians attacked Nadolivka with rockets. The wounded person died in the hospital and 3 more remain under medical supervision. A pregnant woman with a severe head injury was saved in Dnipro after a rocket strike on the hospital. The surgery lasted 4 hours. Doctors removed a piece of metal that had pierced her brain. 29-year-old Katerina has already regained consciousness in the intensive care unit. Her baby's heart is beating too. Let's remind you, in the middle of the week, the occupiers launched rocket attacks on the city of Kamiansk. Medical facilities were destroyed and 3 people were killed. Ol Pavlovska will tell this incredible story next.
Nothing else.
Katerina is now conscious and breathing on her own. Both her heart and the babies are beating as they should.
What's your husband's name?
Well,
Vlad. And your mother's name?
Lena.
It was 2 in the morning when the Russians launched rocket attacks on the city of Kamiansk. The explosion destroyed the therapeutic and maternity wards.
We went out right away. There was one explosion at first. We went downstairs, and then after a while there was a second one, but that one was serious. I went outside to get some air.
Her beloved Vlad was talking to her himself.
I was talking on the phone when, after the second explosion, I immediately heard screams, glass shattering, noise. I dropped the phone. After that, she just didn't answer anymore. I ran out quickly, got in the car, and drove straight there.
As a result of the attack, 3 people were killed, including a pregnant woman. More than 20 others were injured, among them Katerina. She was urgently taken to Dnipro.
When we saw on the CT scan that such a fragment was lodged in the brain, there was almost no hope. It went through the brain in such a way that surgery was nearly impossible.
Here you can see it, how it almost reached the cranial cavity.
The doctors gathered at night to perform an extremely complex and risky operation to remove the fragment from the brain.
It went into the area with the highest concentration of blood vessels and destroyed about half of them. And thank God, before the operation, there was no hemorrhage. They managed to stop it all.
The operation under the microscope lasted 4 hours. The neurosurgeons removed the fragment and shattered bones that had ended up in the brain from the impact.
It may not look that big, but it travels at a very high speed. I've seen shrapnel 5 to 10 times smaller than this, and it was deadly.
The shattered skull bones were covered with a titanium plate. The doctors hope they will be able to save both Katerina's life and that of her baby, whom she has been carrying for 3 months.
I don't know who yet. It's still too early.
It was her first night in the ward when the occupier struck. Katerina's mother believes everything will be all right.
We talked in the evening. We even joked around a bit. I said, it's like being in a sanatorium. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner are brought to you, and every day everything is fresh. That's how we spent the night. But she's a strong girl. She endured it, and she'll keep enduring.
Her beloved promised to marry her as soon as Katerina is discharged from the hospital. They hope that after such a trial, their child will have a happy fate. Ol Pavlovska, Alexander Kulish, Dnipro, TSN 1+1.
An oil depot is on fire in Sochi, in the Adler resort area. Drones flew into Russia last night. Fuel tanks are engulfed in flames. Locals who filmed the strike said that the Kubanef product oil depot is burning. It is located near the local airport. Operations there were suspended and more than 50 flights were delayed. The mayor of Sochi confirmed the attack and the strike on a petroleum tank with a capacity of 2,000 cubic meters. Ukraine's defense forces blew up a bridge that had been mined by the Russians themselves. Operators of the 1st Separate Territorial Defense Brigade of Ukrainian Armed Forces have released a video showing the destruction of a Russian crossing over the Tsada River in the Bryansk region. The footage shows how Ukrainian FPV drone stealthily approaches the target and detonates near the explosives that the enemy had prepared to blow up the bridge in a critical situation. This crossing was supposed to be used for redeploying troops, as well as delivering ammunition and supplies to the enemy army. Now the bridge is down and 3 villages have been cut off from Russia. Meanwhile, in the Donetsk region, the Russians have advanced near 4 settlements. This is evidenced by data from the Deep State Analytical Project. The occupiers' advance was recorded near Torsky in the Lyman direction and near Orkhov on the Pokrovsk section of the front. The enemy is also putting pressure on the Novopavlivka direction. Heavy fighting is ongoing there, according to the Operational Strategic Group, Kortitsia. The enemy army, despite losses in manpower and equipment, is trying to push its offensive. Overall, there were 138 clashes on the front line over the past day, according to the General Staff. He was a compassionate friend, a good person, and a diligent medical university student. In the town of Vishnev, in the Kiev region, people said their goodbyes yesterday to 23-year-old Ivan Pismeniai. He served in the armed forces as a combat medic and tragically died on July 21st. More about what Ivan was like in life, what he loved most, and how his closest friends remember him in the following report.
wearing mourning bands and with eyes full of tears, in the courtyard of St. George's Church in the town of Vyshnev, Kiev region. Many people have gathered to pay their last respects to the hero. 23-year-old Ivan Pismeniai is welcomed as people bow low on their knees. News of the death of the fourth-year student of the Bogomolets National Medical University became known on July 27th, on Medical Workers' Day. It is known that Ivan studied at the Faculty for Training Doctors for the Armed Forces of Ukraine and above all dreamed of becoming a combat medic because he knew that Ukraine needed him.
We met in the first year, yes, when we both entered medical university together, and from that time on we became friends. He was a great person with a capital G. He accomplished a lot, but there was still much he didn't have time to do.
They expressed their condolences and added that this is a great loss for the educational institution as well. They say they were proud to have a student like Ivan because he was the head of the course group and others always looked up to him.
Ivan was incredible, as a person, as the course leader, and as a member of the faculty's student council. He was we talked about everything. He could come up to me and say, "Taras Suryovich, I need to study remotely." I ask, "Why?" And he says, "I need to work at the hospital."
Back in his early years at university, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Ivan Pismeniai volunteered to work as a nurse in the infectious diseases ward at Boyarka Hospital because he wanted to help people. He was an instructor in first aid, and after successfully passing his exams at the beginning of this summer, he decided to join the Armed Forces of Ukraine so he could save lives on the front line.
Before he left for the war, I told him that his place was in the hospital, that his place was to heal people. He said that he would always have time to become a doctor, that his place was there now, that he was needed there.
He knew that someone had to do it. He also had many acquaintances and friends who died, who defended our country. And so he couldn't just stand aside and knew that this was something he needed to do.
A large number of townspeople and acquaintances gathered to bid farewell to the hero, and during the funeral procession, the whole city stood still in mourning. The entire faculty also came together to say goodbye to their best friend and classmate.
A person we will never forget, whom we will always remember with a smile on our faces, so thank you for that.
Ivan Pismeniai, who will forever be 23, is survived by his parents, a brother, and a sister. Alina Lisova, Volodymyr Ostapenko, TSN 1+1.
The secret has been revealed. The main intelligence directorate has obtained comprehensive data on the newest Russian nuclear submarine cruiser, Nyaz Pozharsky. The intelligence officers even shared some of the documents on social media. All of this is classified internal information from Moscow, including the crew's full name lists, combat instructions, the vessel's schematics and engineering documentation, as well as records of combat and daily operations. Submarines of this project are one of the key elements of the so-called Kremlin nuclear triad. They have 16 launch silos for our 30 intercontinental ballistic missiles. Each one can carry up to 10 warheads. Their permanent base is in Gazivo, Murmansk region. The Nyaz Pozharsky joined the 31st Submarine Division of the Russian Northern Fleet just last week. It was personally accepted into combat duty by the Russian dictator Putin. NATO troops may appear in a country neighboring Russia. The Estonian Minister of Defense, Hanno Pevkur, announced their possible deployment in Estonia. He said that for now, this possibility is only being considered. A final decision on the deployment of the German-Dutch Allied Corps in Estonia will be made during this year. If the decision is positive, the forces will be based in the city of Parnu, which is less than 250 kilometers from the border with Russia. Parnu is being considered because of its developed logistics. There is a port, an airfield, a railway, a highway nearby, and it's close to Riga. According to the Estonian minister, the deployment of the military corps involves creating infrastructure for 200 soldiers, headquarters buildings, technical facilities, and all necessary communications. For the first time in 600 years, the eruption of the Krushenina volcano has begun on the territory of Kamchatka. In the videos being shared online, you can see a massive cloud of ash. It rises into the sky more than 6 kilometers high. The entire area around the volcano is covered in ash. The wind is carrying the clouds toward the Pacific Ocean. No evacuation has been announced, since there are no populated areas in the danger zone. The Krushenniniko volcano has awakened for the first time in recorded history. It is located 200 kilometers from the administrative center of Kamchatka. The areas around the eruption have now been assigned an orange aviation hazard code. Kangaroos in Kutchagiri. A powerful snowfall has hit Australia. Although it is winter on the continent now, snow in Australia is quite a rare phenomenon. The country is known for its warm climate. Snow has come to eastern Australia for the first time in many years. Many children and adults are posting photos and videos of the snow on social media, admitting that they're seeing this for the first time in their lives. In the footage, you can also see kangaroos, typical Australian animals, looking surprised as they try to shake the snowflakes off themselves. The heaviest snowfall was in the south of Queensland and in New South Wales, where it's usually sunny and dry. The unprecedented snowfall in Australia has also led to a transportation collapse. Dozens of cars are stuck on the roads, and rescue services are warning about the dangers of icy conditions and stormy winds. The snow level in Australia has reached half a meter. Currently, more than 1,000 volunteers across the state are providing assistance to those in need. And what are your plans for the end of the season? And where have you managed to relax this summer? Leave your comments below this episode. And with that, I'm wrapping up this broadcast. Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so you don't miss our live broadcasts. The next one is already tomorrow. Stay with TSN.